I hope you enjoyed your lesson today and got a better understanding of your golf game. Here's a video review of what we worked on. Chris, great to work with you yesterday. This is your short game video module. Here you are starting. This was just you chipping. The things I look at, look how narrow your stance is, look at your toe line, and then where is the ball position to your toe line, which is back. And most of the time when people set up with their feet close together, the weight's too much on the back foot. So here's you hitting a chip. And this is kind of where we started. That's your motion. Here you were down the line. This was you chipping. And you can just watch this. And that's the way you're chipping. So we'll talk about this a little later. Really want to get into the program here. So the first shot, first family of shots is putt chip. And the family that goes with it is bump and run. So there's 4 families. We can pair them off as low trajectory and then higher trajectory. So the 2 that go together are putt chip and bump and run. Both shots we want the putter face square. Both shots we're going to have shaft lean. Both shots have no bounce. So we've got to catch the ball first. So you can see in the putt chip that if we set up, ball position is middle. That creates more shaft lean. You can see that's 82 degrees. I just sent you your putting video. I was at 87 degrees with my putter. So I have 5 more degrees of shaft lean. Look at my weight in my left side. Look where my right hip is. It's inside my right foot with the width of my stance. So here you are, and here's your shaft lean, and you have 85. Now you do have your weight a little more in your left foot here. And on every one of these shots, if you look at me over here, every shot impacts the shaft is more forward than address. Lower body on this shot moves a little bit. So if you watch me go through, I hit down on that, and there is the putt chip. Now when you watch this, you're going to see that on these shots, there's a little bit of a down cock when I go through it. There's the club swinging back. There's that little down cock, handle forward, hit down, and through it. The reason the ball is back in the middle of the stance, which creates number 2, more shaft lean. And then the third thing, difference in putting, is we play it off the toe of the club. With the ball back and the more shaft lean, we hit more down on it than a putt. So as we watch your technique, you kind of go back too much together. So you're not letting the club head swing enough. So you look at the club swing and then a little bit of a decock, a little bit of a down cock there as I come in right there. So you go back a little bit too much together, and let's see where your club is coming in the impact. And you can see at impact you're about the same as you were at address. So that I can see the shaft ahead of the line. So it is ahead. And there you are. The club was nice and low going through. And there's a nice finish. So that looks good. Now what do we do to vary our setup to make this a bump and run with the putt chip? Well, we simply play the ball more back, and that creates more shaft lean. Now your shaft lean is 81. When I go more back, I have even more shaft lean, or 77 degrees there. I'd like to see you get wider. We talked about that on your putting video. I'd like to see you get a little wider in your stance. But the key is, are you going to return that club with the handle a little more forward? And I can see the shaft forward, so that's good. But there you are at impact, and see that the shaft angle is more vertical than you were at address. Look where I am at impact. See, I've got, if you look at my shaft angle, it's more leaning a little more forward than address. There's hitting down and through it. So you get a little too scoopy coming through. Did stay low, not very nicely, but I think you can see if you get wider with your stance, let the club head swing a little more going back. Don't be so stiff-wristed. Get a little bit more of a down cock there. You can hit down and you'll get the shot better. Now the one thing I'm noticing is look how stiff-legged you look here. You look at your right hip, stays in the same place. You look at I have a little bit of lower body movement. See that? So notice that that lower body is moved. So you look a little stiff-legged right there. A lot of these shots you want to look at. Watch my knees. My knees just go a little forward there as I hit this shot. So have that in your putt chip. So when I look at my putt chip from down the line, in my putting I'm at 68 degrees. Putt chip I'm 67. When we look at you from down the line with your putt chip, you were 64 with your putter, you're 64 with your putt chip. So that's good. You're the same that you were. But see, you look a little back on your heels, look at my knee bend, and look how my weight looks more in the balls of my feet here. Club's just simply going fairly straight back and straight through. It looks a little out there going through, but probably the camera angle more than anything. And as we watch you, you're going to see your club go back fairly straight and through. Pretty simple shot. So when we look at you, the first shot you hit from down the line, so you're going to see the difference here with this particular shot, besides your width of your stance, is watch how much the club comes inside. So see, your club's going to come inside. That's how much it came inside there. And over here, you're going to see that your club is not as much inside now. You know, they look somewhat similar there. But notice a little more hooded here, not as rotated as it was here. And then as we watch these go through, look how nice and straight you go through on the left. Other side, you open the face and had to close the face a little more going through. So the toe can release. You can have the toe release a little bit. You look at me from down the line. Where's my club finish? Pretty straight in that picture there. So this is putt chip. Ball back is bump and run. So here's what I'd call a real McCoy bump and run. And notice how you look back on your right foot, and notice how your shaft lean is only 84 degrees. My shaft lean is 75 degrees, 9 degrees more than you are. So you don't have your weight enough in your left side, and when you hit this ball, how can you hit the ball low with 4 degrees of shaft lean? You look at me at impact, I have even more shaft lean than address. So I have 73. I have 13 degrees more shaft lean than you do at impact. So if you were wondering why I'm hitting the ball lower than you, that's because I've de-lofted it that much. Now, one thing with you is if you look, this was the second one we filmed, so now you've got the ball a little further back. And keep in mind, the club face is square on this shot. You have a tendency to have a little open. The right foot is the club face as well. We want 70% of our weight in our left side at address. And one of the things we'll talk about in your bunker, is you could have your left hip a little more forward and your right hip a little more forward here. Look where my right hip is. My right hip is inside my right shoe. Where's your right hip? Your right hip's outside your right shoe. So you don't have your lower body as far forward as I do. That's why you're having trouble having the handle more forward and more shaft lean. So if we just draw this and look at this and watch you hit this, there you let the club set better. You return the shaft to the address position, and then you finished there. So the whole key is this whole thing, this hinge and hold, it's hinge, unhinge against your lead arm. So if you watch me hit this shot, you're going to see that I'm going to let the club swing. I'm hooding that club as it goes back. There's a little bit of a down cock. I hit down and let the club head release against my lead arm. So when I get here, the club head is ever so slightly past my lead arm. But in this shot, we're just letting the wrist hinge, and then we're letting them unhinge up there. Hinge, unhinge to there as we hit down. Now notice my lower body has shifted. And where's your lower body? Back on your back foot again. Look at my knees and look at your knees. So again, we talked about this in your putt chip. See, look at your left knee. Your left knee, you're not moving it. You're in your left foot, but not enough for this shot to hit it as low as I hit it. So when we look at you from down the line, and we look at me from down the line on this shot, one thing you're going to see, and this is something that I truly believe, look at my shaft angle, 62 degrees. Your shaft angle is 55. You're miles from this golf ball. And the further you get away, the less consistent your contact is going to be. So I would like to see you choke up and get a little closer to the ball. Now, from this angle, we can see toe line, which is a yellow line. Toe line is open. Shoulders, same line, same parallel line. This is the only shot where we swing in to out to our toe line. That's why this black rod's on the ground. That's your in to out. So I think you did a nice job of in to out. There's your club going back. Now look at your club face. Watch mine. My club face is hooded. So I don't have to rotate my hands and arms much from there. I can just hit against it and look at my club going through. See the out? The club's following that yellow line out. In your case, you've got to look at your club face. It's toe up like you're hitting the shot. Come down and look at the club face. Look how much loft you have in the club face there. So that club face is not the same as me. See, look at your hands. Go left and you hold the face open. That's a flop shot. I don't even like people hitting it like that. That's the way some guys try to hit it. Turn through and hold the face open right there. I don't like that. So look at the difference of what I'm doing and what you're doing. So watch the shot, and you're going to see the club swing back. Club's hooded. There's that little down cock. Hit down and through, and let it release against my lead arm. And notice my right heel off the ground. Notice I've moved to my left foot. Here you are finished. Still planted back here on this right foot. So you got some things. See, you're more turned with your shoulders. So see, you're chipping with your turn. You're trying to turn through it and hold the face open. That's not a bump and run. Bump and run, handle forward, hood that thing, hit down on it, and have that handle way forward. So you've got a little work to do on this bump and run. I think the simplest thing is do the putt chip with the ball back. So if you look at that setup there with the ball back, you simply can cover the bases setting up with this setup with the ball back. So that can be your bump and run. That's the putt chip with the ball back. That can be your bump and run. And that will be better in these two looks that you have here. So that leaves the other pair, the last two families, long blast bunker and flop. Long blast bunker is simply an open stance an open club face and make your golf swing, and as you'll see from down the line, it's a more vertical backswing. Less turn, club hinging going more vertical. You can see, once again, you're back here on your back foot a little bit, and ball position, the default ball position on Long Blast Bunker is middle of your stance. So you're in the middle of your stance. On the flop, you can see how we've opened the stance, and the ball, let me use a red line. So you've opened your stance more. You haven't really played the ball a whole lot more forward to your toe line. So flop is two things. More open stance, ball position more forward. I like to see the ball a little more up here. So get that ball a little more forward. Here's another picture while you're in the bunker here. There you are with a more open stance, but once again, that ball position is too far back for that shot. Notice when you set up that you have too much shaft lean. So you didn't have enough shaft lean with the low shots, and now you have too much for the higher shots. If you look at me set up to a flop or a shot where I'm more open, there it is. So look how much further forward that ball position is. Now that brings up what I call Bunker 101, really can call it Short Game 101. That is weight left at impact, hit down, and release. And then we have this secret left shoulder low. So if you look at me at impact, you can see my lower body has shifted. There's the club. I'm hitting down, and I certainly release it. Club's gone. So if you look at me out of the grass, and you're going to see all the same things I just said, there's my textbook setup for Long Blast Bunker with the ball in the middle of my stance. So let's watch you hit this. We're going to draw a line on your shaft. So you're letting the club hinge good. Come into the ball. And that's good. That's right where you want to be. You want to be a little forward. When the shaft gets 90 degrees, it wants to be right there. You watch me hit this. You're going to see I'm hitting a little shot. You see the club swing back. You'll see it's much more vertical probably than yours here. And then as I come into impact, you're going to see an impact that I have, as I already said, handle a little more forward, next click, right there, straight up and down. So that's where you're at. That's where you're at over here on the left. So that's good. And then you let this go and let the arms and hands release. See, that's good. Your arms and hands rotated. Watch my release on this. So there's the arms and hands rotating. And Chris, way to go. We got to our left side too. So very good. That is better. So looking at you from down the line, here you are down the line, and I would say, again, this is kind of an overall thing, but you've looked too far from the ball. Look at my shaft angle. If I draw my shaft angle, I'm at 60 degrees. Your shaft angle is 56. I'd say we're about the same height. So I will draw a plane line. And this brings up these rods on the ground. So let's talk about them. So the yellow rod is the target line. That's the line going right to the flag. The red line represents approximately 5 feet left. That's what your toe line is parallel to. It doesn't look parallel, but it's always an optical illusion from this angle. And then this black rod simply represents where do we want to aim the club face. Well, we want the club face to be about 5 feet to the right of the target. So that's where we want the club face. So if you look at these lines, the yellow line is the target line, the red line is parallel, it's left or an open stance, and the black line represents where we want the club face to aim or an open club face. Always, those three lines never change, even when you go for the more open stance and the ball more forward in your stance. Those lines stay the same. So let's watch and see how vertical this swing's getting. So there's the club right through your fist, and there you are at that position. You're going to see that my club head is a little outside my hands, a lot outside my hands, and look how vertical the shaft is. Then the club's going to drop in, and when I come down, the club head is outside my hands a little bit. I'm certainly going to hit down, and then if we watch this, if I draw a line parallel right here, watch my club track on that line. So there's the club tracking right on that red line. So let's see your club, if your club's tracking on that red line that I've drawn. See, you're leaving the face open too much. See, I'd like to see the toe of that club release more. Now you can hit a shot where that toe of the club doesn't release more. See, look at my toe of my club. My toe of my club has rotated. Now I'll show you one where, let's see, I've got one here. Now here's one where I try to keep the face open going through. So maybe a little more open there. But watch as this club goes vertical. See, I can't keep the face the way you have it because I'm rehinging that club more up. You're going to see the club come up right there. So look where I'm finishing on this shot, and look where you finish with the club head. So I'd like to see you keep that club head moving, going through it. So here you are out of a bunker. You're making a bigger swing. This is the standard long blast bunker setup. You can see the club came too inside, didn't get vertical enough. Here you are coming down. Now you're letting the club rotate. But why are you stopping right there? See, if you watch me hit these bunker shots, here I am down the line. Now I made a little bigger swing than you did. But watch this. So there's the club head. Notice where the club head is. Now out of the bunker with a more full swing. There's the club head right through my fist. Pretty textbook on plane. Much more vertical shaft angle than you are. Look at my shaft angle, left arm parallel to the ground. Look at your shaft angle. And then I come down, the club's going to track. Look at my club head right on plane. There's the club head going right through that red line. Where's your club head? You're under the plane. So you're coming too much from the inside. Not going to be able to hit down as well. Now watch what happens going through. I'm ripping. Those hands, look where the club head's going. I'm finishing way up there. So we got to get more of a follow through with all these shots. So as you look at these two setups, look at your right hip. Look where it is. Look where your left hip is. Look how much shaft lean you have. And look where your ball position is. So that's the ball position, and the shaft lean is what you want to do in a long blast bunker. Now over here, you are set up for a long blast bunker. Ball position middle, shaft lean. But notice where your lower body is. See, now we have this lower body inside your right foot. So this is not what we want here on the right. And notice when you come in, if I draw a line on your head here, let's see what happens coming in. Well, you move backwards with your head. And look how long it takes for your shaft to get, probably right here. That's 89, that's almost straight up and down there. So that far forward of impact, your shaft's getting straight up and down. See, that shot there, you hit with not enough loft and not enough bounce. Now over here with the lower body better, coming into the ball, there you are at 90. Notice the hands are not as far forward as they were over here at impact. And let's just see what your head did. Did you go backwards with your head here? A little bit. You got to work on that head not going backwards. And notice when you hit it, your right hip is in the same place. So if you watch me hit these bunker shots, and this is the long blast bunker, look at my setup. Look at my setup versus yours. See, you're too forward with your upper body. Look where my upper body is. I'll draw it in red. See, my upper body is not as far forward. My lower body's forward, but my upper body is back a little bit. You're the opposite. Your upper body's up here and your lower body's like that. Got to get the opposite. You almost want to feel like you have like a little bit of a reverse C there in that setup. So when you watch me hit this, and here I'll draw a little line right on the Titleist on my hat, notice where I'm at impact. Same place. So if we draw a line right here on the Titleist, put that little Titleist in my hat in a box, notice at impact, I'm exactly in the same place. But what's changed? Look at this right hip. Look at the lower body has shifted. And notice right there, the club's already passed straight up and down. The club head is flying by. So we've got to get you can't start so far forward. Watch Lori. Here's Lori hitting a bunker shot. Look at her setup. See how she has more tilt in her shoulders than you do. Look where her left shoulder is. So now watch Lori go through. When she comes in, where's her lower body? Her lower body has shifted. Her shaft is passed. That's straight up and down. That's 90. The shaft's already passed straight up and down. Her arms and hands are going to rotate, and the club's going to recock back up. And look where you stop. See, look where Lori's club head is. Lori's club head's all the way up here. She's hitting out of the same bunker you're hitting out of. She came up and saw me. So look at the rotation of the arms and hands and the recocking of the club. So you're just not, you got to get more than that going through there. The last thing I showed you was the mini flop. You could call it a putt flop. The only difference is the backswing. The putt flop is a little more stiff-wristed. The mini flop, I'm letting the club hinge going back. And notice when I come into the ball, just like every shot, look at this position. Look where I'm at right there. Handle's a little forward, shaft leaning a little more forward. Now you're not going to believe the rest of this. Now the arms and hands release and that club goes straight up on a mini flop. Here it is. You can watch this. Here it is from down the line. So because the club's going straighter back, it goes outside a little bit. I bring the club down, still a little outside my hands, hit down, and there's the club, and there's the club coming up. I did try to keep that face more open going through, not turn it over here, but because of how vertical this is going through the ball, you can see the face maybe there in the shadow. I think I showed you this video before, but because it's going more vertical, that toe's got to release. Well, I hope this helps. I hope this helps your short game. It was great working with you, and I look forward to working with you again. Thanks.
This video review will continue to be in your locker on the V1 server. You can watch it anytime. Don't forget to work on your game and work on all parts of your game: putting, short game, distance wedges, your golf swing, and of course go out and play as much as you can. I look forward to continuing to helping you with your game.